Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally with our day 11 of the 12 days of Christmas. And today we are doing Christmas trees. So if you saw my video this week where I upcycled this cute little angel doll, I am today going to take that little part of a Christmas tree that I took out of her arms in that video, and I'm going to upcycle it in this video. Don't throw anything away. So there is this toy. I don't know what game that was, but it came with that little wooden piece, and I didn't know what it was. It was on the good table at the dump, but I looked up the name on the bottom, stamped on the bottom, and I guess it's part of a game. So in any case, I thought it would make a great stand. So I am taking that little bit of tree from the angel's arms, and I am going to glue that on. And then from some leftover bits and pieces, I am using some straight greenery, and I am going to glue it up this tree to make this look very primitive country. And once I've glued them on, I am then going to take my wire cutters and I am going to snip the tree in the tree angle to give it the right shape. And then once I have the right tree shape, I am going to take a few of the little rusted bells and I am going to glue one on each of the tips of these green branches. And then once I have a bell on each branch, I decided that the clay star that came on this little tree is cute, but I am going to go ahead and glue over it a tin star, a rusted tin, so it looks more like the rusted bells, looks a little bit more primitive country, and I think it just pops a little bit better with a little bit of a lighter tone to that. And then I am simply going to make a little shoestring bow out of some baker's twine, add that to the top of the star to give it a pop of color and hide the little hole. And that is it for this tiny little primitive Christmas tree. But sometimes it doesn't have to be anything big to give you a little pop of the design that you're looking for. And in this case, it cost me cents. I don't know how much I paid for the rusty bells, but it wasn't much at all. So that's the only thing that I purchased here. And I think it looks quite sweet, just adding a little something to my vignette. And do not miss number 3 here. It is the absolute best. Taking me on to number 2. Now, my granddaughter had this toy, and none of us know quite what this is. We had gotten a whole bucket of blocks, and there were a few weird looking things in the bucket, and so we tried Googling it, could not figure it out. So I took a look at this and said, well, as far as I'm concerned, this is a tree. So they weren't going to use it, so I decided that I would go ahead and take the stand, and I would take 2 of these funny looking pieces and glue them one on either side of that and make myself a Christmas tree. And debated on whether I should paint it or whether I should stain it or whether I should just leave it natural, and I opted to just leave it natural for this particular one. If you have any idea what this toy is, let me know. Now, after that, I have just a simple star that I stuck at the top of that in between. I'm going to actually use that as a base for something else, but for now I'm going to stick that on there and let that glue. And then I went through my stash of buttons and just little bits and pieces that I have probably from scrapbooking back in the day. And I had a number of little Christmas, I would say buttons, because I had to pop the little plastic thing off the back of them in a lot of cases. And so I just simply hot glued these all the way around this little wooden tree until I got the look that I liked. And then I went through my stash to find a better star for the top, because the one that I put on there just wasn't cutting it, and I thought would be a good base, but just not good enough for what I was looking for. I also found in my stash some tiny little white wooden snowflakes I think I had gotten at Temu or Hobby Lobby some time ago, and they come quite a few in a pack, 40 or 50 I think in a pack. And so I've had a number of these, and I thought that added just the right touch to fill in the little blank spaces. And then also I found a star, and then I put the star on the top, and then I also went through the blocks, and there were two flat ones that I thought would make good Christmas gifts for the bottom of the tree. So I simply added a string bow to each of them and glued them on to the base of the tree, and that's it. So that is my Childlike Christmas tree, item number 2, and make sure you stick around for number 3 because it's the best. Now, before I get on to item number 3, which is absolutely adorable, I want to remind you that this is the collaboration for the 12 Days of Christmas, Day 11, hosted by Brenda and Krista. Their channels, as well as the playlist, will be in my description box for you to view and check out what the other creators are doing. Maybe some of them are decorating a Christmas tree, but it is way too early for me. Now, this little wooden crate was one of the items I got for a couple of cents at the Goodwill bins this week, and I thought how adorable this would be to make a Christmas tree in this little crate. So I had a bunch of these green pieces from Temu, and I had a piece of birch log. So I asked my husband to put a hole in that, and I glued some of the greens together to make them stick and look more like one tree. I think it took 3 of them. And then I wrapped the base in some floral tape, and my husband put the hole in the base of the birch log. Then I glued the whole thing into the base with some floral foam, and that stuck right in there, glued it right to the base of that, and it was absolutely adorable just to start. But then I went through my stuff looking for some burlap. I knew I had a coffee sack that I had cut up last year because I love the look of burlap at the base of a tree, and I tucked that all in and made sure that you couldn't see the floral foam through the crate. And then once I had that the way that I wanted it, I added a rusty star to the top of this, kind of holding all of the tops together, and then the fun begins. If you saw my angel doll that I made 1 or 2 videos back there, you know that I got 2 of these little tiny babies at the Goodwill bins, and oh my gosh, they are so adorable. So I took a piece of drop cloth and put that little baby in swaddling clothes and glued the little swaddling cloth right on, and then I tucked him into the base of the Christmas tree. And then also at the Goodwill bins, I found this little doll. I cut her tags off, and then I decided to make a little sign. So I grabbed one of those tongue depressors, and I cut the rounded ends off, cut that in 2, and then just made a little sign for the side of the crate. And then I decided to fix this doll's hair. The hair was twine, basically, and it had looped and looped and looped and looped, but it was sticking straight up and it looked ridiculous. So I went ahead and just took my hot glue and just tacked down one piece after another piece, making that come forward so it would look a little bit more normal. And that was primarily what I had to do to the doll. Her hair was really the problem. And so I decided to just go ahead and take another piece of the drop cloth that I had used for the baby and to tack that as a scarf over her head. And then I added a couple dots of glue to her dress and her hand to attach her to the back of the crate. I added the little sign to the crate, and I think that this is the sweetest little thing. I had just been telling my husband, man, I feel a little bad. I've done this 12 days of Christmas, and not one of these things were really about the real meaning of Christmas. So I wanted to make sure that I did at least one of these items that would speak to the real meaning of Christmas. And so here is my favorite item number 3 for my Christmas tree. Now, I would love to know which one is your favorite, and make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow, the last of the 12 days, because it is my second favorite, I think. I really, really enjoyed yesterday's, but I think I really, really enjoyed tomorrow's as well. So thank you so much for sticking with me these 12 days, for all your lovely comments, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.